Hello, my name is Coach Oyama. I have a passion to help you improve. I specialize in macro. Hopefully I can give you some tips here on how to improve your gameplay. Here's some experience that I have. I'm one support player, by the way. I'm trying to grind for top 500 this season. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and start looking at this gameplay here. So I'm just going to read the entry here. Lost time game. We lost time game. I'm pretty sure we could have done something to win. Can I get some feedback from y'all? Alright, so let's just go ahead and take a look at what's going on. I'm curious as to what that emote means. Maybe it means someone's coached you already? Okay, but nevertheless, I think you're Ray. Please be Ray. Because if I'm looking at the wrong Zenyatta, yeah, okay. The profile name is Ray. So this is good. So first of all, GM1, I'm expecting very high level micro and macro concepts, but I feel like it's going to be more so on the macro concepts than the micro. The Discord orbing as well, I would say uptime on your Harmony orb. Make sure to Harmony orb your Tracer. Good priority, healing your Ana. Kiting the enemy, this is good. One thing I would say, keep kiting the enemies because you know that they're close on the right here, so you should be kiting to the left here. They're a bit closer and it's not necessarily bad, but now you're gonna have to deal with more threats. Whereas your team composition, you do have an edge on them with your Ashe versus their Bastion, and you can always Harmony Orb your Tracer to mark the threats on the side, which is the Tracer. Good Harmony Orb. Yeah, and so it forces you to stay here and play this corner, and then you're just slaying. One thing I would say, especially on this map, there's no way for you to get out if you go ham like that. It's fine to go ham like that, especially on the other two rounds where there's a bit more tolerance, where you can move to LOS off the sides and play and let your support pocket you. But if you're going to go ham like that into the enemy team, make sure that you're ready to like follow up onto the next people and try to have cover, so then it's not just a one pump chump kind of thing. As for the ults here, you know that their Tracer has Pulse Bomb, so I would be asking your Tracer to mark the Tracer. Yeah, there we go. The Discord onto the Tracer. Keep it on the Tracer. Yeah. G's Pulse. Now you should push that Tracer. Absolutely. Watching the ult tracking though, the only thing that you should be ulting here, really, is keeping your team alive and playing aggro and using positioning. Or abusing your positioning and angles onto the enemy. Very nice pick. Watch your threats here. There's no need to push forward and let the Tracer force your Trank. Yeah, I feel like you can give your Tracer orb and just like chill. Because if there wasn't a Tracer here, I would say go ham, like you're going right now. But chill, look main again. You could focus point on the objective. Oh, your Doomfist is getting. What the? What did I just watch? But yeah, your Doomfist is getting slaughtered over there. Yeah, just give your Tracer the orb. Don't deal with this Tracer over here. She's literally wasting your time and your uptime. And you can be having so much more impact on point here if you just, yeah, Discord the Hog and shoot him. He's gonna, my 600-pound life, I like that. He's gonna be having way more trouble, and you're gonna be providing way more value to your team shooting that Hog rather than trying to 2v1 with your Tracer, because it's essentially a 2v1 if you just give her both your orbs in that 1v1. Okay, going into this fight, I would be tracking every single ultimate and trying to see what you can do and where you need to position based off of these ultimates, and it would be on the high ground up here on the right. Okay, your team kind of does overextend. I would say I want you repositioning even faster up into that high ground, because you know it's coming, that they're going to be trying to punish the rotate over here on this next rotation into the high ground. Otherwise, you just sit up here with your Ashe or your Ashe on the off angle, and then you can just orb her, and then they have to like stretch their team super far, and that's never going to work pushing into the chokehold for them. You guys do get a pick, but then you get 2 picks. You pick back. Sucks. But if you're in this high ground, you can be providing much more value charging your right clicks versus just being in that low ground. The high ground for this point is up here in this bongo, because there's so much cover. You have a Mega to fall back on. If that Tracer does come and try to 1v1 you, you have your Ana to deal with it, and you have so many corners to be able to outplay her. Okay, that team fight was a wash-ish. there's still things that you can do better. Okay, that you're honest. Helen Kellering, and then Lucio to touch. Back onto Zen. Actually, on this point, going Zen high ground isn't the best idea because they have an enemy tracer, and your DPS can't mark the tracer because of the way just the map is set up. If she decides to 3-blink recall, if you position over here, I would say that's actually pretty decent, especially if you get your team to do it with you. Just keep that in mind as a possibility. Oh, this is a that's a exciting flank here. I like it. I like it. Yeah, and then you realize that your team is backing up. Nice, holding space really well. One thing, when you have the advantage, push. So here, the tracer is dead. There are no more threats other than just the front line. So gap close, get real close, start pushing, push the advantage here. Because you can be with your team rather than on this high ground here, because this would be like a good neutral. When you have the advantage, push and make the enemies feel it. Hog on the left, yeah, you see him DPS your DPS. Yeah, Harmony your DPS, very good. Yeah, one thing that I noticed for high level players is they're scared to push when they have the advantage. If you're with your team and you make the comms, especially using teamwork, you can get so much done just by taking the advantage and pushing with them. This is good. I would say, yeah, position a bit more aggressive, especially after they do something like that TP, and you know that they're going to be like hurting after that TP. Okay. Then now we're going back into the pre-fight setup. This is good. Yeah. This is very good gameplay. I like how passively you're playing, but I would like to see you turning on a bit more. Knowing when... okay. Knowing when to flip that switch and just go absolute like ape mode like you were trying to do earlier in first point where you like push the enemy core. You know, don't like Pavlov yourself. Oh, it didn't work once, it'll never work again. You know, you have to be adaptive and play into the enemy team. Very nice flank. And then you can push the advantage by flanking here. Yeah, and now their core has to look at you instead of your team. Yeah, beautiful. This is beautiful. One thing I would say is watch out. Yeah, start dropping here because now there are 3 on you and your Baptiste can't heal you as effectively. Oh, this is a very risky position. I feel like it's a very risky play to take that bet that the Sojourner isn't going to just dome you there. Yeah, and then you get punished for your positioning. How do you not die there? What the? You had Discord Orb on you, you got hooked, like one shot from that Zen and you were dead, but he didn't hit you once. Okay. So going into this next fight, I want to see you ult tracking. Actually, I wouldn't stay up here because you know for sure that they have all of their ultimates because they haven't used them. So I would be playing around main with your team because if they start using their ultimates, then you're in a place where you don't have to run across the map to be able to train. It's a pretty good train. I would say, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but if they pushed through and you were forced to walk backwards instead of preemptively using your trank to hold them at choke, that would have been a really bad position for you to run towards your team, so I would rather see you position towards your team. Okay. They use all 5 ultimates to cap. Classic. Okay. Going into this team fight here, I would love to see maybe a flank. That would have been funny. It's not necessarily a good play, but it's funny. Okay. Okay, this is one of those rare instances where I would say orbing your tank is okay. Just as a random tip that I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily know. When you're trying to push through a choke hold like this, and especially when you have a Baptiste or a Mora, or maybe even a Kiriko, where she can swap targets very easily, orbing your tank and just left-clicking the enemy tank is very, very, very good. Very nice. Very nice mechanics here. Hitting your left clicks very consistently. It's about the damage output. It's not about getting a kill right now. Oh. And then your Sigma's a bit cursed. Yep. You played this pretty well. I would say it's really good. The only thing I would say is look for more kills here. Because you are shooting the hog pretty well. Like here, just like run it. Like run it. What are you scared of? Your team's gonna reset anyways. Run it. Get that kill. Just see red and like risk it for the biscuit. Go in and 8 mode them. Oh, okay. That's a bit of a positioning glitch there. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, we've only seen it a couple of times, but let's go over ult tracking because we're definitely at the point where you need to ult track. Two, let's go over uptime, and how you can manipulate the battlefield with your orbs and be able to better play for your advantage. So ult tracking is one. Two is uptime. God, these abbreviations are terrible. But and then the third one, I'm gonna say the on-off switch. On-off switch. Knowing when to go like full like Jonak, just run into the enemies and kill them. So whenever you're in cleanup phase or whenever you're pushing the advantage, um, you can just on-off switch them. The number two for your ult tracking. One, you need to absolutely every single time ult track the Tracer pulse bomb. Because if you get pulsed and it forces your Trink, that's literally a game-changing play for the Tracer. And if you can prevent that just even once, like charging your right click and knowing that the Tracer is going to be flanking from wherever she's going to flank, or at least having in your mind the possibility of her flanking, as well as positioning for your ultimate. So in that last team fight, it was maybe even winnable if you were positioning just slightly different. You played it pretty well, but like I explained earlier, if they push you out of that chokehold and then you're gonna have to drop and then play with your team, that's not ideal. So your positioning and your attention for when they have the ultimates that will threaten or that you can counter with your ultimate, and then finally your uptime. You were doing a pretty good job of harmonying your Tracer, but don't let that enemy Tracer distract from your especially on the first point where the enemy Tracer was flanking and you're trying to take that 1v1 onto the Tracer. It's really good when the Tracer uses her blinks and her positioning to go into you, and then you counter that and stomp her down, because then it's a 5v4 because that Tracer's offline. But don't put yourself offline and do the exact same thing and go right back into the enemy Tracer and try to 1v1 her, because then she's going to put you offline. Instead, look to abuse your positioning that you've already had and held beforehand, and because you're supposed to be in a good position. Let's scroll back real quick. You're supposed to be in a good position where you're on high ground, which I'm pretty sure you were on high ground. Where, yeah, right here. Yeah. So you force the enemy Tracer out. Boom. Done. Your Tracer's got here. Look main. Look Ana. You can get the kill on Ana. You can discord the Hog. And even just keep your harmony on the Tracer. This kill's going to be really hard to get. It's like catching a slippery fish. Why catch a slippery fish when there's a stake over here that you can just 2-tap the Ana or discord onto the Hog and get way more value over here on the Hog, because the Hog is worth more than just the Tracer. And so if you were to don't tunnel vision, just because now you're overextending and trying to push the advantage into the Tracer rather than push the advantage into the Hog or into the Ana. Yeah, like your Tracer is fine here. She screwed up. That was on her. That was not your fault. You couldn't have done anything better other than give her Harmony Orb here. But you could have turned the tide of the fight by looking over here. Looking at the Bastion, if you discorded that guy, he would have died faster. Looking at the Hog, if you shot him, he wouldn't be able to help that Bastion 1v1 or be able to push into your Ashe. Small things matter. So I'm gonna like manipulate the battlefield. Manipulate the battlefield with your Harmony and your Discord. If you think about it, your Harmony will be able to make you take space. The Discord will make the enemy go back with space. And so when the enemies are pushing forward, you Harmony the part where they're pushing forward, or you Discord that part also. Put your Harmony somewhere else. It's like yin yang. When one thing moves forward, the other moves back. And, it's a really, really complex balancing game of, like, managing your Harmony Orb and your positioning. But, Harmony, Discord, and positioning. But it is what it is. You'll get used to it over time. It'll become a bit more nuanced. It's really like an art. It's really like an art at the end of the day. Yeah, needless to say, hopefully I helped you with some